go here. Okay, so I don't think you're actually playing Reinhardt here. I think you're playing Winston based on what we discussed, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
There we go.
The story of
Okay.
my life.
So here we go ahead.
Just for a preface, like, as you know, my pool is still pretty small. The only really background I had was playing a couple games on like my 3-2 alt, and then watching like your Gator review, and then part of another review you did. So I was trying to work on conserving my bubble, and I don't really think I did that all that well. I was kind of, I didn't really know what I should be doing, and my default was just go on the high ground and act like I'm doing something.
Go on the high ground and
And
act like you're doing something. You could get pretty far with that. I don't know that you'll get very far with that in a Masters game, but okay. Okay, let me get my epic pen pulled up here. Okay, then I mean I'll critique as we go here, but so you're basically thinking, hey, high ground is a thing. Temporal told me so. There's something about my bubble I have to get right about not just wasting it, but I'm not sure what. Okay, that's gonna be a little rough, but that's okay. We'll make it work. So here we are. No problem. So you are set up for a hard dive with your ball, your Doomfist, your Zen. Sure. Wait. Okay, your ball went in. So now you either wanted to go in at the same time as that, ideally. But we didn't because we were burning. We definitely don't want to be in the open here, but we're going to point. Oh, when we're just doing this. Oh, it's cheddar. Okay, so here we are here. How do I want to explain this? So what we want to do is our bubble is a big, explosive, powerful play. Like Winston's initiation is very strong. It's probably even more strong and more explosive than Reinhardt's. Between using, hey, we have our leap and we have our bubble. But our bubble is a very long cooldown. So we don't really want to be using our bubble unless it's like we're committing to the fight and we're going to make something interesting happen. That something interesting might be an elimination. It might be a giant cleave. It might be we're going to turn around their supports for 3 seconds, 4 seconds while our team fights their front line. We're going to starve their front line of their support. Like it could be any of those things. But we aren't great at fighting other tanks as Winston. Sometimes we'll do it when it's like, hey, we're getting a bunch of cleaves, so yeah, we'll fight the tanks because the Zarya's here, the Reinhardt's here, all of their buddies are right behind them, and we can cleave them, and maybe we have our own Zarya bubble. But we don't really want to make a specialty out of fighting other tanks, and we especially are sort of like, Zarya's less worse than fighting other tanks because she doesn't have any armor, which helps us quite a bit in our matchup. But now we're stuck with just fighting the Zarya, and we can't do anything meaningful or anything really helpful. Like, we've now decided this is the team fight because you've dropped your bubble, and in this thing that is the team fight, you're playing tickle me, tickle wars with Zarya. And that's not really what we want at all. We're much more interested in either, hey, maybe I'm here getting cleave. You wouldn't actually want to be here. What you'd actually be interested in is, I'll just rewind because I'll get a better thing here. That would be way too big a rewind. That would be a problem. Okay, so here we are. The type of thing that we'd be interested in hitting would be if we hit a jump on this Ashe right here. That could be kind of interesting. We'd push this Ashe off high ground. She couldn't really stay here. We could zap this Ana from above. This Ana, while she's worried about us, is not healing her team. So as long as we did this when their team was accessible to our team, that would be good. Or we could look at this and go, hey, I'm ignoring the fact that you're on fire. Our ball's going in. Our ball's going to hit a pile drive, and that's going to be maybe 100 damage, probably less. While he is going in, we also go in. And if we do pile drive up to 100 damage, plus Winston leap up to 50 damage, plus melee, there's 30 damage, and then we get into Teslaing, well, that's pretty easy to eliminate a 200 HP hero. Or at least to get damage on a bunch of different things, like, hey, the Lucio, the Zarya, the Rein. So, like, those are the sort of things that we're looking to do generally, to be like, I get big cleave, or I isolate someone out, or I'm in a place that I can sustain forever. I'd like to go in when my ball goes in this composition. So that's what we'd like. We don't do that. You see our Doomfist went in. So our Doomfist was late, went in after our ball, but that still would have been a good window for us to be in, us and our Doomfist in at the same time. Because then again, we can
Okay.
be in there together to finish off that Ash that he's on. And because our bubble there would make his job easier, right? Like if he's in here and he's getting melted by the Zarya, well, he's not getting melted by the Zarya. Or he's got something to help him dodge the shotgun from Rash. Like he's got something to play around if us and our bubble are in here, that he gets the benefit out of it too. So that's what we'd look to do. And now he's just eliminated. And he's not really wrong. Like he sort of went, well, we're going to dive hard, right? And we didn't. Yes, he went after the ball. And then your ball's going in again. This wouldn't be as good, but your ball did just go in again. They're going to turn around for him. So again, you hop up here and you zap them from behind, and if you get into too much pressure, you just drop back down. That's more how you're thinking about this as Winston. Not like this, because now we're stuck fighting Zarya, and we can't make any big plays for the next 13 seconds. It's a lot of zapping the air. Okay. So this is late. You had the option to jump in here earlier if you wanted to jump in here. Like we're looking at this. You now have the option to jump in here if you want to. Jump on Cheddarback there, sure. Doesn't end up happening. Instead, you decide that now you want to jump. And you'd have had your bubble back sort of in time either way, but this just isn't really going to be a phase. We don't want to fight the tanks. Zarya's better of the two. Guess we're doing this. Ooh, chase the Discord. Chase the Discord. Nope. Okay, works for me. Sure. So what could you do if you're Winston and you're going, hey, I'm in here, I'm fighting this. You got the NNA. You leap for damage. You're taking damage. Where is your healing?
Outside of the point.
Yeah, she's almost certainly right up here, right? Oh, right. What do you know? She's exactly where we expect. So it's perfectly fine for us to go, I'm going to tuck out here. I'm going to tuck out here. And I'm just going to wait out here for a bit, and then maybe I'll wander back in here and zap from the side. So that's what we'd look to do, rather than stay in here, especially because we're reloading anyway. Okay, definitely don't need that. Yep. Okay, so we're not looking for this long extended brawl that we're taking with them. We're looking for explosive dives with our ball and our tracer.
Further experimentation required. Pardon me.
Okay. Follow the Discord, fine.
You're powered up. Get in there.
Electrifying the air a little too heavily. Maybe. The problem is I'm not really willing to dive after her here because I don't have a good enough feel for where her teammates are because, well, you got the Tracer elimination recently. The rest of the eliminations were not particularly recent. And sure enough, if you leapt at her, you'd get punished by these two. And if that's the case, you're now sitting yourself in a place where this just kind of sucks. Like, you've just sort of walked forward in here. There's no cover for you, and you have to use leap to get out. So there just wasn't a good reason to walk up this place in the first place if we weren't willing to jump on her. Does that make sense?
Okay. My thinking was that, like, I'd pressure her back, but I don't really...
The way that you pressure her as Winston is you hop up here, or you hop up here and go, yep, if you try to walk any further forward, I've still got cover, but I can potentially zap you if you come close. Like, you can't actually make her leave, but you can make her go, maybe I don't want to advance this way. Maybe I'm going to have to go on a detour. Maybe I'm going to have to go on a detour type thing. Because you need short sight lines. You have no poke as Winston until Overwatch 2. So this is better. Okay, that's fine.
No one can hide.
Putting yourself in the doorway. You have sights. Good. Okay. You'll get better at that. That just wasn't a place to leap. That was actually a place to sort of... If you wanted to walk forward on this, what you'd actually have done is you'd have sort of 180 butt jumped forward. Not like your shift jump, but just like you'd be like, I'm walking forward, I jump, I spin in the air to go forward, and I drop, and then I spin and jump again to sort of go forward, because you don't want her poking you from super far away with headshots.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay.
that's not the first thing you need to know about Winston, though, so I'm not too worried.
Nano boost is charged.
Great. Get your high ground control again. You're perfectly happy just making it hard for them to enter. You're not going to dive them back there. Great. They're going to give you a path here. Perfect. And you zap that. Okay.
My thinking was like a very primitive understanding of the ult. Like I thought, oh, I can just boop them off like
Yep.
I'm a Lucio or something.
That's true. I just would have waited until they committed a little harder. Like,
Okay.
I look at this and I go, yeah, okay, maybe you get one here, but these guys are gonna want to rotate across at some point, and I'm pretty happy zapping them from up here. So, like, I'm up here, and yes, you lose the element of surprise if you zap them, but if you zap them, you're hitting a nice 3-person cleave, which is great. And then they're either going to go back in which case your team wins, right? Because their Winston is already out somewhere doing something, which means your team can shoot at him. So if your team can shoot at their Winston, oh, sorry, I've got teams mixed up. If your team can shoot at their Winston, but their team is like cowering in here, you're going to be winning the fight, right?
Right.
And also you have control, so just nothing happening is sort of to your benefit. If they ignore it, so be it. If they run out further into the open because they have to get to the point, then you just go, okay, drop primal, toss you off. Here it's sort of like, it's really telegraphed it's pretty telegraphed what you're doing, and we're in this situation where they get to change their mind pretty quick. And you end up only getting sorry, which is, not bad by any means, but you're not going to fight them in there. Not the 3 of them. Well, okay. Oh boy.
Barrier activated.
Yeah, that was.
Okay.
I thought I would get like either the jump reset thing or I would. My main goal was just to land on one of them and finish them off, but as you can see,
Yeah, but
that
she's
didn't go as
too
planned.
close. She's too close even for a maximum short jump. Even if you're like hard holding your S key, she's too close for you to land on her with your jump. And she's not like actively running away from you where she's going to get further while you're in the air or anything. Generally, if someone is in your Tesla cannon range, which she is, you can't really jump with them. She needs to have just left it a little and be running for you to even do a maximum short jump distance and hit her with it. Unfortunate. So you would have just zapped her. You could have dropped your bubble where you were and zapped her. That would have been the play.
Okay.
Through the miracle of science.
Okay. So here we are. This is an option. You guys can do this. The 3 of you can try to fight up here and get space. Doesn't work. We don't love using our bubble here, but we are going to because we're getting overwhelmed and we're just going to leave. Right? We're going to leave? We're going to leave? Oh boy.
Excuse me for dropping.
Right? You don't have him. You don't have him. Okay, so you're wasting a lot of ammo, and you've been wasting a lot of ammo this match, where it's just sort of like, that's not great. You're spending too much ammo in the air, and as you can see, how much damage do you think you've done with this clip that you're at 50 ammo for?
Maximum of 20.
Right. So you see, like, and it didn't take that long to get down to 50 ammo. And you only do, 60 damage per second? So it's like, okay, it didn't take that long to get down to 50. I only do 60 damage per second. Even if you find a squishy to start zapping now, you're going to really struggle to eliminate it between reloads. So we really do a lot to try to maximize our clip value as Winston. We don't zap when we're not getting anything, and we in fact melee weave. If we're close to targets, we'll often go, or if a target has armor, we'll intentionally get close to it so that we can hit melees for the 30 damage, because it'll make our clip last longer. Because a melee will last half a second and do 30 damage. A melee takes half a second, can only be done once per second, and does 30 damage. Well, half a second 30 damage is the same as 60 damage in a second from a DPS standpoint. So our clip lasts longer if we weave melees. Now, I'm not saying, oh, you have to weave melees, but I'm just pointing out, like, it's so important to us as Winston players to have enough clip to be able to sustain long enough, because the second you hit that reload, it feels like all of your work gets undone. It doesn't all get undone, but it's so much effort to get it back that we want to make sure that we are actually getting clip value. Okay, let's go back to our nanoed monkey here.
I'm feeling
Good.
unstoppable.
Sure.
This will protect us.
Hit your melee land, fine. Drop. Okay. Do you want to go back up on point right now?
I heard the trans, and I'm actually duoing with Orzin. So the
okay.
plan was just like contest them all, and then the ball was talking as well, and we were planning to just kind of
Okay.
brawl them out.
If you know the trance is coming to point, this is fine.
Barrier and
Why are we bubbling during the trans? What is this doing for us? Transcends there. Okay.
I wanted to prevent the Zarya from killing Orzin, and then I think Orzin was able to kind of like situate under it for a while. Was my thinking, at least. I don't know if it actually worked in practice.
It was a tiny bit early, your bubble, but that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
And then, if you could skip to the next map.
I can skip
Awesome.
to the next map.
Look out. Ready for battle.
imagination is the essence of discovery.
I can't wait to get to the light.
5, 4, 3,
Okay.
2, 1. Round 3. Capture the objective.
Hi.
Ahlan.
It's an option, sure.
ازيك؟
Figure out what you're going to get on. Missed the hook. That makes your life much easier. Find your way up the stage. You can't go that way. You can't go that way. Okay, so we don't want to fight this hog head on. We're actually not interested in fighting this hog head on. In fact, now that this hog doesn't have hook, we're very interested in jumping on something else where this hog isn't. So like, hey, this ash is right over here. The hog doesn't have hook to punish us. We'd be very interested in jumping on this ash over here. We like contesting lone hit scans, lone supports, things like that. That's one of our favorite things to go do as Monkey. Holding corners is sort of okay as Monkey, but it's much lower priority for us than it is on Reinhardt. And like dropping this bubble does one cool thing, and that cool thing is, hey, it blocks out the Ana from sleeping us. It blocks us out from getting naded. But even so, this person's not particularly weak. I can zap this person. I'd much rather turn and zap these two people. I'd much rather be fighting these two people.
My goal was to kind of like isolate him.
Mm-hmm.
I obviously it didn't work out as well as planned, but would that be a good thing to do in general?
To isolate him from his healer?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it can be a good thing to do, but the problem that you run into it is it's a valid strategy to go, hey, we're dropping the Winston bubble to make it so that Ana can't heal, but who else is on Cheddar here?
Nobody.
Is Cheddar low health when you isolated him?
I thought he was.
Oh, okay.
However, I was wrong.
Okay, that's fine. So yeah, what you're generally looking to do is you generally don't isolate someone when they're full health. You isolate them when they're
Okay.
already missing health. Like one of the most popular ways of using the isolation, for example, at the time anyways, was maybe not the most popular, but what you'll run into is the reason that the Reinhardt-Winston main tank combo works, where you're playing both of those tanks, is yes, exactly that. You sort of have your Rein go, he's swinging, he's getting someone low, the other Reinhardt, and then his Winston drops the bubble a little aggressively so that the other Reinhardt is stuck in the bubble, so that this Reinhardt that's already missing 200, 300 health, now they can take him down together, because even if he hard shields, he doesn't survive because he gets finished through his hard shield without getting heals because the bubble's in the way. So like, yes, that's a thing. But if you do that at full health, you're just wasting your at him being full health, you're just wasting your bubble because he still backs out in time and gets healed. And this is basically that same thing happening here. You go after people when you isolate them when they're already low. But you immediately turn and deal with these squishies. Yeah, and you can't chase her, you can't chase her, you don't have your bubble. Like, you just can't fight her. You're not going to be very useful for the next 8 seconds because your bubble's not in a great place right now. So where are you going to go?
I guess to the corner and wait for bubble.
Nope.
Like kind of.
You're going to hop right up here.
Okay.
And you're going to go, hey guys, I exist. And they're going to go, we don't like that you exist. If you're here, they're going to zap you. If you're not here, they're just going to be uncomfortable. They might try and shoot at you, but you can sort of just remind them that you exist up here without taking damage. Or if they start to push, you can drop and go get them in the back as they push through. So aerial jungle gym. That's how we Winston.
The objective is now.
Nope, wasting too much ammo. You're at 80 ammo before you've done damage.
I'm claiming this objective.
Definitely can't be here. Hog's looking at us, we immediately need to pop our leap. So where can we leap right now? Like, if we end up in this situation, holy cow, where do we go? Because this hog's about to hook us.
Back to that original position you suggested.
Could also just jump right over him up to here.
Okay.
And then we can play with, hey, I zap you from here, hey, I do that, etc. And I've still got this pillar in the way. The truth is you can also stand on this and this, but those are much harder to land on and don't give you any protection. So these would be much more temporary. But yeah, if I was doing it right now, I'm not even convinced you have time to turn before this hog hooks you. If I'm going to try to reaction beat him, I'm just going right up here. Not that you should be in this situation in the first place. Well, okay. Okay, so do I want you here?
No.
Where do I want you instead?
Higher ground.
Right.
Beaming down on them.
So this is the sort of thing where we go, hey, this happened. Leaped up here, so be it. And now you don't have leap, so this is a little, hey, what do you do? But you've already forced them off the point, so you're good. So you can just keep behind this while you're reloading. They're too far. I'm not going to pursue them. I'm not going to drop my bubble, because if you drop your bubble here, let's be serious about what this is going to do. This is going to let you do what? An extra 60 damage to Sigma? Maybe more?
Yeah, max 60.
Right. Like, we're just going to drop our bubble, and it's going to be like a high walk forward, and I bubble, he can walk away from you, and you can't follow him. There's no way that you finish him here. And you're not keeping him low health for people to pursue, because he's just not in a terribly dangerous spot for him. And you're not putting damage on people who are more squishy. I mean, you're putting sub damage on Lucio, but you're not putting, like, real threat on Anna, who's going to be in trouble from it either. So, like, we didn't want to be here. We wanted to finish our reload, wait some time, and then hop our way up here and zap them from here and have our bubble to either go, okay, your turn, and maybe I use my bubble so I can keep zapping you if my team looks like they're pushing, or I go, hey, I got this Anna down to half health, a third health, whatever. Now I'm willing to drop and chase her and use my bubble, because my bubble is sort of a leash. As you see here, this is about as far as you can go with your bubble. If you're up here and you're zapping, and then you drop and take a step, and then you use your bubble, well, you have a few more steps that you get to use to try to finish her. So, like, we don't want to use our bubble entering fights from the front like this. We want to use our bubble when we're entering fights, you know, actually as part of a dive. Okay, there we go. So, and you're just gonna go up? No, you're not. Okay, fine. Can't be here. I don't want you getting hooked. And again, your D.Va's got it. So, like, if you're up here, this Sigma can't really walk in. Or you actually stop this Sigma from walking in better by being up here than you do by being here. If you're here, you sort of stop the Sigma from walking in through this doorway. If you're here, you stop the Sigma from walking through, or you tax him from walking through this doorway, which is preferable. It takes more space for your team. You also, from the same doorway, get the option to pressure the tracer over here. You get to be going, well, okay, it's your tracer, but we'll pretend you zap up here, you turn over here, you zap over here, you don't like that the tracer's shooting back at you, you close the angle. But you can tax either one. D.Va's got the right spot. We hate this. We hate this. We would much rather, if we're in trouble, or if we feel like we don't like where we are, we would much rather use our leap to go somewhere else than drop our bubble. Because again, we can use 2 leaps easily per bubble, so it's okay to use a leap to get out, and then on our next bubble leap, we'll have our leap and our bubble for the actual fight.
Okay.
We can do some hit and run type stuff.
Barrier up.
Again, we wouldn't have gone through here. We'd have happily hopped right up here. Oh, and we'd have found a Winston to fight. Or we'd have found these guys to zap. Cool. Still don't really want to be there. And you're also playing with tanks. So, like, playing with tanks can be good. So they've now mirrored you, tank line, which, you know, hey, that's fine. And what you're doing right now is called tank trading, where you're going, hey, I am, you know, zapping him, he's maybe zapping me. What this does is it tends to make it so neither of you can make a good play, a good dive, all that sort of thing. That's okay. It generally favors the team with the better poke, because if you're both zapping each other, then it's going to be harder for either of you to actually stage and either of you actually dive. So if you feel like, hey, my team has better poke, great. Does your team have better poke right now?
Possibly with the Zen.
Yeah, you guys probably have slightly better poke because you have the Zen. So this isn't necessarily
Okay.
bad, but honestly, I'd still look at this and go, it's so close. This is potentially okay. I don't really want to just fight this guy here. I'd still much rather be doing just things that Winston is good at and zapping multiple. Like, I'd rather get my big cleaves, etc. I'd rather be putting the pressure on. My 60 DPS isn't very threatening to D.Va, isn't very threatening to Winston, is pretty darn threatening to Ana and Lucio there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be fully transparent. I didn't obviously intend on tank picking or tank trading, whatever.
Sure.
I just was struggling to get any sort of value I could, and that was like my default thing, like shoot
Yeah,
at
no
the big
problem.
thing.
No problem. But you just have to think about where you're effective. Reinhardt is pretty
Right.
effective in the front line fighting people in the front line, but Winston has to use his mobility to cover for his low damage to go find the
Okay.
people that he can be threatening to.
Okay.
This will protect us.
And I just walk right past that. I don't like that we used our bubble here, but I just walk right past this and go, okay, I'm going to go fight your squishies now. Especially because, did you have someone go in to fight these squishies already? Yeah, you've already got your D.Va in here. Your D.Va figured this was the game. Your D.Va's probably eaten some Ana abilities already. Isn't letting the Ana nade herself. Like, ooh, how fun would this be?
You're powered up.
Okay, this isn't a good matchup for you. You're nanoed, so it's not terrible, but it's not usually where we want to go. And we wouldn't generally float across the open like this, because if Ash shoots us, there's just nothing we can do. We don't have our leap. We're just sort of walking out here. We had to go this way. Like, we landed, like, over here, and we just can't walk through the open like this. We're not Ryan where we can toggle up our shield. And, again, if we have to drop our bubble because we're in the open like that, that's terrible. We would much rather use leap to get out. Okay? And this is better. This is better. You leapt to a hit scan. Who's sort of isolated. She's gonna get help. You did this. Okay, and you're gonna try to look for a way to get out. Just try and survive until you get your leap. And now that you have your leap, you're just gonna hop your way up out here. You did the job. Almost.
Okay, so I should have leaped to high ground there.
Yep. So you went in.
Okay.
Your job is sort of get in, and once you get really good, you find ways to get in without using your leap. You go like, I leapt up here, I walk back here, and now I have my leap back, so I just drop on the Ash, I fight the Ash, I use my bubble while fighting the Ash, I eliminate the Ash, or I force the Ash to leave the fight, and then before getting punished, or, instead of getting punished, I find a way to survive long enough, playing Ring Around the Rosie if I have to with stuff, to get my leap cooldown back. In the case I described, we didn't use our leap cooldown to get in. So as soon as we've done what we want to, we have the option to leap up to get out. To leap in this direction to get out. Yeah, we very much are comfortable playing hit and run on Winston. We don't want to brawl, but we'll hit and run.
Further experimentation required.
Taking a breather. Is it safe?
Okay, so where are you going to hold? So again, we've covered this. Your hold spot isn't here as Winston. It's going to be more like up here, where you can zap over here, that type of thing. Could be over here, but your hold spots are above, not on corners. Sometimes you're going to hold corners, but that only really works if you're playing against another dive tank combo, which in this case you are. Oh boy. So our reaction to seeing the enemy front line should not be to jump on them. Our reaction should actually be to go, I see you, I know where you are, that's useful information to me, but I'm looking for where's a backliner that I can jump on. Like I'm looking for, I see you, but you can't really hurt me at that range. The Winston can't hurt you at all at that range, and the Diva is just like, okay, yeah, whatever, don't care. I guess I'll break line of sight on you. Look. Oh, now your tank started to go in this way? Cool. Now I'll jump on your Ashe that's showing herself, your Anna that's showing herself, your Zen that's showing herself, whatever. If you're jumping on tanks, it's generally because you're trying to charge a Zarya bubble that you have. Okay. So, here we go. Primal. I know this is a topic you want to cover. So here we are. You're primaling. This is fine. This fight is relatively even. If you don't primal here, you get eliminated. If you do primal, you're still in it, and you guys are up one at the moment, it looks like. So cool. We're going to hit our primal. And now what we're looking to do, I'm going to slow this down real slow. We're going to go, hey, I can hit one of these people. Oh no, we're just going to go for edge kills.
Yeah, that's my default.
That's fine. I'll do.
Routing towards forward barrier.
Somehow it actually works, but what were you going to recommend? Because obviously I think that'll...
Here you are right to go for edge elimination. That is totally reasonable to go for an edge elimination here. What's the second map? Because you have a replay code for a second map here.
Blizzard World.
Great. We'll go over primals there. Because you are right to go, hey, I'll take this here. And rather than do a theoretical, we can do a real in the future.
Cool.
Sure. It's a lot of heavy zap usage. 20 ammo and we haven't hit anything. And then we're reloading when we get flashed. Yep. Okay, let's jump to the second one here because that's fine. You guys got that, but I can't say that had a lot to do with your monkey.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. Pretty sure.
Ready for
So are we attacking first or defending? Okay, it's gonna be. Their team is attacking on third point. We're defending.
Oh, you've got
Yeah,
something here. Oh,
yeah.
okay, got it.
We had a really good hold for about uh, nearly 5.5 minutes.
Okay.
I felt like I had a little more impact here. Obviously, my team was still kind of doing the heavy lifting, but
Sure, sure.
I I was trying. I was making a conscious effort. Like my Zen duo told me, like, hey, you need to focus on the squishies more.
Yep.
That that was my objective. My objective was make the widow uh miserable.
Yep.
So I tried to do that. Then I I obviously still have the same issues on ability usage,
Sure.
and I guess here would be a better example of, as you said, how do I primal without
Yes.
going for edge kills?
I suspect that that's what we'll get until you dump 3 people into the into the rift on third. But you know what? We'll deal. We'll deal. Okay, that's fine. So you're here. You just swapped to monkey. We see the hog has used his hook, which means we're free to jump on whoever we want until he's got that hook back. So that's definitely something that we track. And we see there's a Genji. We like playing with Genjis. We like playing with Mercies. But the problem is the Genji still has dash as far as we know. The Mercy's right there. We don't really like this. So we'll just leave. Fine. Ryan isn't our friend. Bap is our friend. We're happy to go zap Bap. Hog's here. We'd like to leave. We can't because of this point. No problem. Third it is. I was ready for an epic second hold, but it's just not happening.
Yeah, no, unfortunately.
The miracle of science.
No one can hide from the hunters.
Sure. Okay. You can zap the butcher back. You're still a little early with your lightning.
Yeah, destroyed.
Oh boy. Uh, okay. So you did lose a little health to the echo, which is annoying. Don't get me wrong. You're missing a lot of ammo, and he recognizes it, and he's also got this corner to play with. So he's going to use the corner for his rate of fire. You constantly tick damage, whereas he has a rate of fire to his shurikens. So he's just going to repeatedly corner peek this, and good for him. So you just can't let that happen, and you need to either respect that he's going to win this fight, or you need to force it around the corner to actually beat him. It might already be too late, but you just take another step forward and force the corner. No, he's just going to do this. Now you absolutely have to leave. You also want to move a little bit. You want to make yourself, even if it's just like jump, crouch, move your camera around a little bit. He's trying to get double and triple headshot shurikens on him, and you're just doing nothing to make that difficult for him right now. Whereas your weapon has some lock on. It's got a little bit of lock on. It's got a bit of a cone effect to it. It's much easier for you to stay on him than vice versa. So we want to try to abuse that.
Okay.
Because if he's able to hit close range headshots on you the whole time, yeah, he can beat you. Especially if you can't hurt him the whole time. Okay, so here we are. We go take our head ground? Our high ground? Okay, we maybe thought about it. We don't want to be fighting the Reinhardt here, but it's discorded, so we'll be baited. Okay, this you do deal with. Good. And now you're going right back up to the high ground, right? Better. Not exactly who we want, but okay.
Be careful.
So here's the thing that we run into with our hook. What's this hook? What's this bubble for? Is this bubble because we don't want the Widowmaker that we're aware of over there to shoot us?
To be honest, I just panicked and wanted to avoid hooking or
Okay.
getting hooked, so
Okay.
I wanted to try and weave in and out,
Sure,
but didn't go as planned.
Sniper, be careful.
Okay, you're a second and a half on bubble. This is a little dicey.
This will protect us.
You. If you don't get this Rhino elimination, your team is going to be weak for a minute.
Excuse me for dropping in.
Get back.
They're not punishing good. Okay, we can zap him here. This is okay. But what we're also going to get is that hog's going to pay attention to us now. We don't like that. So let's get out of here. Let's jump their widow. Like, that hog is paying attention to us. I don't like it. Let's just jump over here and bother these guys. You're not going to eliminate them, but you're going to keep them out of the fight. And if you can keep these two out of the fight without taking damage yourself, that seems like a pretty good trade to me. Like, your team is going to have to figure out how to win this 5v4 by themselves while you hold these guys out of the fight. You can't just hold these guys out of the fight whenever, but this fight is real right now, right? Like, this fight is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So if this fight is happening right now, it's perfectly valid for you to go, I'm holding these two out of the fight. And it's much better than going, yes, there's a hog looking at me that I have no way to hide from him. Okay, well, let's just not be here then. Oh boy. You've now used leap, and you used leap because hog made you flinch. I get it.
Feeling powerful.
Okay, there's a Discord. It'll work. For what?
This will help. You're powered up. Get in there.
Feeling powerful.
Okay, so what is this bubble for? Is this bubble for because you're still worried about this hog, I assume?
Mm-hmm. That was my internal panic.
Okay. So the problem is you're now leashed to this bubble. You know, that's just life. You're leashed to this bubble, and let's see where you can go.
Barrier up.
Widow just went up. We have a Mercy we can stay at. So be it. Good. Great. Much better than what we were seeing before.
Be careful. Pardon me.
It's fine. She's
In
up.
that 1v1, could I have like tried to hold bubble for longer?
So when it comes to the Widow 1v1, you have to judge this. So we look at this.
Sniper, be careful.
She's scoped. She's scoped, and she's been able to charge it for a moment, so you're going to have to do this. If she hadn't scoped yet, you could not bubble. Or if she was just now scoping, you could not bubble, because she wouldn't have charged
I
anything.
see.
But at this point, no, she's charged. We're worried. Now that she's fired this shot, you could potentially not bubble, but she's fired the shot after you've pressed your bubble button, so there's nothing you can do.
This will protect us.
And now you need to duck back into your bubble, and you can stare at her. You can stare at her. Okay. As soon as you're in your bubble, you can stare at her.
Okay,
And then,
okay, so kind of just threaten her, I guess, prevent her from coming
well, you
back.
wanted to know where she went or if she stayed there. Like, I just wanted to know
Okay.
what's she doing, because if she's going to stay looking at you, you might butt jump at her. You might, pursue her again. Like, you want to know what that is. I'm not saying you can't go get any information, and you did go get it here, so that's fine. Set up for your high ground.
I get wrecked here. Yeah,
Yep.
I didn't really pay attention to the hog.
Oh, you're gonna drop into the hog. Got it. Excuse me. You're gonna get hooked by the hog. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be a problem.
No one can hide from the hunter.
Onward and upward.
All right, I think I primal here, if I recall
Hope so.
correctly.
I hope it's not into the hog. Great. That's zapping air. That's trying to zap something. Yep. Right bubble.
Barrier active.
Good. And now we turn for the Anna. We don't just reactively reload. We turn for the Anna, because if we immediately jump right now, we can land behind the Anna and then scoot our butt over here and still be threatening, right? Like, this hog now can't
Okay.
see us, and we're threatening this Anna. And we still have enough health. She might sleep us, but if she sleeps us out here, yeah, her and Genji might get us, but that's just the best option that we've got right now. So that's what we'd like to do. And now you're going to primal. Oh, no, you got healed. Fine. So I can give you a window. Okay. Let him come in a little bit more. Not what I'd have done. Not amazing. Not amazing, to be perfectly honest. Like, I know this Genji got you here last time, and that was annoying, but I'd like to have my bubble for fighting something a little bit more serious. I'd like to have my bubble to help me with something that is more than just Genji shots. That might be Anna sleeps, that might be Widow charge shots, that might be blocking hooks. I don't really want to spend my bubble on what is effectively letting me keep this space from Genji. That's not good enough. Does that sort of make sense? Like, your bubble is really for higher priority stuff than just damage, and this is just damage.
Okay, my thinking, like,
Please, by all means.
someone called out in team chat that the Genji had blade, and I'm pretty sure they were basically right.
Yeah.
So I kind of hyper focused. I thought, okay, well, if I can do anything to kill this Genji, then somehow we might be able to save trans. Like that was the goal. Is there any way that you see, would it be worth me like fully committing to this fight, maybe even solo primaling him just to prevent him from blading?
Yeah, you can try to use Primal as a blade counter. That's fine.
Okay.
That's not going to bother me. But you know what else is going to stop this from being effective? Just removing his Ana from the fight. Like, actually just being like, okay, you're going to go do this.
Okay.
That's fine. I'm going to, as you go in with Blade, or before you go in with Blade, but once your team has come in, like, I'm looking at this, I did not expect you to go in this Genji. I expected you to continue to stay roughly over here. These guys around the corner at all harder than they have. Like, at all harder than they have, and you go, I'm jumping the back line. I'm fighting the Ana. I'm dropping my bubble immediately to try to juke the sleep. Great. Whether I get the Ana or not, whether she gets the help from the Lucio or not, if I can't immediately get her, I'm primaling her. I will then get her, and then I'll swap over and I'll get the Widow, and then, hey, with what we've got left, we go for the Lucio. Like, these guys can't defend themselves from you. You've got all the tools in the world to deal with them if this front line goes forward. And this front line wants to go forward. So, like, I'm not that scared of that because I'm going, hey, you can use your primal and you can beat these guys. But that's okay. It's also okay. It's also not terrible to be like, hey, I'm gonna fight this Genji. I'm gonna keep him under pressure. We're not gonna let him blade. But my issue with that is, how are we then gonna win through not letting him blade? Is it we're gonna not let him blade, and that's going to lead to us getting tired? Like, we have to have a solution to how we're then gonna win from
Okay.
here. Yeah.
To be honest, we didn't think that far. Or with the information we have,
Sure.
I think just kill the Genji was the game plan, but
Okay.
obviously what you suggested would have worked
Yeah,
far
sure.
better and would have been far simpler.
All good.
Yeah.
You're powered up. Get in.
So you got the nano here, which is cool. But you've now used your leap to pursue a Genji. Did he use dash?
Not that I saw.
Right. So if he uses dash and you use leap, he's now free. You're not going to get an elimination on him, which is unfortunate because that's just how that works. So now you're stuck here. You just got nano. You have no leap, and you can't get on these targets. So now it just sort of sucks because look at how juicy those snipers are over there.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just going to walk at them, and then you end up popping your primal and over jumping. So you pop your primal because you don't have leap, which is unfortunate. We don't really need to be using primal and nano at the same time. You're popping this primal just to get your nano or just to get your leap back. Is really what's going on here, so that your nano isn't wasted. We would really
Right.
prefer to stagger those two ults as opposed to stack them, but here's what we'd actually be looking to do. We'd actually be looking to go, I jump on this Ana. I jump on this Ana and do my nano cancel. Or my melee cancel. I then drop my bubble and I'm zapping her. Then I'm going to pop primal. Okay. If I don't get her, then I'm going to pop Primal. Whether I get her or not, I'm going to pop Primal because it's like I've got my bubble down, I got my leap off. I'm now going to use Primal to go ahead and get my elimination, to make sure I get my eliminations here. Because now she's under pressure. She's taken 70, 100 damage, whatever. My bubble's hopefully blocked her sleep, her nade, something. And now I pop Primal. And now what's going to happen with my Primal is I'm going to go, okay, I knocked her away, and let's say I knocked her away to just a little further than where the Widow is. So let's say I knocked her from here to where the Widow is, okay? Now
Okay.
I'm going to do an S jump. I just knocked her away with that, or she just ran away from me, whatever it was, but I leapt in on her, and now I'm stuck here without leap. So now I use my Primal, and now I do an S leap onto her. And I'm going to do my S leap onto her, and as I'm coming in and landing here, I want my left click to hit her just as I'm landing, like as close as possible to when I'm landing. I can actually start the swing. I can start the swing early, but I want it to hit her right as I land, because when I land, she'll sort of get booped up and booped a little ways away by my landing on her, if I'm landing on her very well, and that'll send her out of range of my swing. So what I need to do is I need to leap, and I need to start my swing just before I land, ideally, and then sort of be like, okay, I did this just before I landed, but I don't actually connect with my swing until I've landed. And that's what you optimize it from a minimum standpoint. If you want to go, hey, I leap on her, and I'm just like the instant that I actually land, I hit my left click, that can work too. You can still generally get her like that, and that can be a little bit easier. But you're really looking for those two things to hit as close together as possible, because either one will knock them out of range of the other. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So
Okay.
essentially, you wanna time it like. So to confirm, you match up when you land and when your fist hits at the exact same time, right?
As close as possible, yes.
Okay.
If you have to err slightly, they can already be getting knocked away slightly from you having landed on them, and you can still catch them with your fist. It's going to be much
Okay.
harder to hit them with your fist. If you hit them with your fist early, it's very unlikely that you're going to land on them, because your fist knocks them so much further, so much harder than your landing does. Okay?
Gotcha.
So primals are, I jump on someone or I show up on someone, I zap them, I use my bubble, because you can use bubble because your primal will last 10 seconds. Your bubble's on a 13-second cooldown, so you'll have bubble back when primal's over. So you're going like, I'm doing this, I'm dropping my bubble, she's going to run from you, but she's going to have like 100 health after you jumped on her. You're going to go, okay, now I leap on you and do my combo, where it's I try to land on you and hit you with the fist from the swing, my left click, at just about the same time. If I'm airing slightly, it's I'm landing on you slightly before, and that's going to send you somewhere. And ideally, I send you into something like this that I can then jam you in a corner. But even if I don't jam you in a corner, I then go and I just wait, because I knocked you away, and I can't like catch up to you again by pursuing you, but I'm on a 1.5-second cooldown on leap. So unless I already knocked you straight into a wall, I just wait, and I might move to the left, might move to the right, and then I go for my next leap once I've got it back, and I do the same thing. And again, I'm trying to aim, because I am my projectile, I'm aiming where you're running towards. So I might be aiming slightly in front of you, and then I land in front of you, and again have to turn and hit you with my slap as I've landed in front of you to get both again. And then I do it a third time, and now my primal's half gone, but I've also eliminated you. And I've got half my primal to try and go get a second elimination. You see how that works?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I got you.
So that's the micro, effectively, of how primal works. Now, you try to get them into corners so that you end up in situations where you can go, hey, I slam you into a corner, I do a leap that doesn't move you or me at all, and it's easy, and that way I can weave extra swings in, because you're sort of either sort of some swing time waste, where I'm just sort of waste, where I'm just sort of waiting, because, I can't actually catch you walking after you. I'm going to use primal to catch you because I'm knocking you away, so I'm going to use a leap to catch you. So that's sort of how this works. If you can get them in the corner, you can just kind of hold down left click a little more and just sort of be like, okay, I've got full uptime. But that's generally how it works, and that's enough for you to take out, hey, if I land on someone for almost 50 damage, slap them for 40, land on someone for almost 50 damage, slap them for 40, and then the third time I land on them, they should be eliminated. And if I landed on them here and got my 70, from like, hey, land plus melee to start, then I can probably get them in 2. But, they'll probably heal themselves. They might get some healing. You see how this works. So
got
that
you.
is primal mechanics. And primal mechanics take some practice. Like, I would really recommend you turn up ult charge gain like times a bajillion %, and then you just go get custom game mode that you save for yourself. Just build a custom game real quick, save it for yourself where you've turned way up ult charge, and you go, hey, I am specifically going to go do this. You might have to practice it for like half an hour, 2 hours, whatever, to get it right the first time. Like, that might take a little bit of work to be like, okay, I've actually got this land hit thing. But once you have it, it's not that hard to maintain. It can be like, hey, I'll do this for 10 minutes a week for 4 weeks, and then I'll probably never lose it type thing. Like, okay, if you don't play Winston for 2 years, you might lose it, but sure. That's what I'd recommend. I would recommend, though, actually practicing it in a custom game as opposed to just trying to practice it in ranked before you've actually done it, if that makes sense.
That makes sense, yeah.
Cool. Okay, so here you go. You don't have leap, so you primal. You way overshoot. You sort of jump at him, but again, that's just slap damage, no landing damage. That's just slap damage. So your S leaps exist. And again, that actually, well, you did get him here, but that's a good example of one where he was perfectly hittable with your land. Like, if you don't do this, well, okay, maybe you did go too far there. Maybe not. Sure. We'll pretend if he was alive here. You land and then try to slap him again type thing. This is perfect because even if you get your timing wrong, he's in the wall where he's not going to go anywhere if you send him from your land. But we've talked through the theory.
Right.
That's a lot of wasted ammo in the air. Ah, well. If you know they're low health, you win. Leave. Good. Could've been good.
Personne n'échappe à mon regard.
Pop out. We'll take high ground again. Great. That'll happen sometimes. It's really a bit of a bait game between you and Anna where you're sort of going, hey, if I leap on you... This is one of those situations where she's not going anywhere and she's already staring at you, so you can actually drop your bubble early. Because your bubble is going to fall in the place where you want to be. Do you even have your bubble?
No.
No, you don't. Okay, then so be it.
But obviously, like, in an optimal scenario, I would have saved bubble for that, so.
All good. We missed our jump. We don't want to play with Reinhardt. We don't. We want to win the fight. It's really tempting to use Primal just to stall point because it's a really easy use of it. But if you look at good Winstons and what they'll do, well, sometimes they'll get stuck into doing that at the very end of maps like this. It's generally much better to go, my Primal gives me insane mobility, and if I can farm Primal in a fight, even in a fight where we're stalling, I can go Primal, I can go get 2 eliminations, and suddenly we're back in the fight. And that's what you'd really be looking to do with it. Your Primal mechanics obviously aren't going to get there immediately, but like, this is one of those fights where it would have been pretty easy for you to go after Widow and Anna, and Widow is just chump change when you Primal, because she has such a long cooldown on her grapple, and you now have a 1.5 second leap. But, yeah.
30 seconds remaining.
Okay.
Yeah, that was probably my biggest mess up right there. I panic clicked bubble because I heard the high noon without actually like considering if I'd be under it or not.
Yep. Here we are. He's not threatening to you with exactly. He's not threatening to you with the high noon yet, so we wouldn't have high nooned yet, or we wouldn't have bubbled yet, because that's the thing. We go sailing past our bubble. Okay. We went through the. Oh. Surely this is the end of the round. Okay, we went through these last couple minutes pretty quick here, just based on timing, where we were, etc. But we know what you need to work on. Like there's 4 topics. I'm not going to tell you to work on all 4 of them, but the 4 things that we've covered in some level of importance today are: you need to be thinking much more about, hey, I don't hold chokes at corners. I don't like hold in the open. I hold above stuff, which you did a much better job on this 3rd point of doing. So that's good. You need to be understanding that, hey, your bubble is really a tool that is you want to have for your leaps. On that first well map, you were just spending way too much time, using your bubble and chokes, using your bubble in the open. The bubble is something that you need for when you go after people like Anna, because if you don't have it when you go after people like Anna, you'll just get slept. So you really need that. You really can't have that used in the open while fighting Zaryas, unless that's just where the team fight is committed to happening. But we also went over primal mechanics and what you can do to specifically practice those, and that's something that you can go do. That obviously will open up your versatility in terms of actually getting value of his ult. Moving it from like a D- ult to a B+ ult is pretty good. What did I say? I said your high ground usage, I said your bubble usage, and then you're electrifying the air. Like, you are spending a lot of ammo on the air, and it's actually hurting your damage, your uptime, your ability to actually threaten eliminations on Widows, on Annas, on Zens, on McCrees, on Hanzos, on Genjis by quite a bit. So, like, we really do need to check this electrifying the air thing that you're doing, and some of that should go away pretty quickly as you just get a feel for how his weapon works. It might seem inconsistent, like sometimes you're zapping people that are further away than other times, but it's actually just like a beam lock-on, the same way a mercy beam is, where you can continue to zap someone that you were zapping before for a moment if they leave your range, but you'll never start zapping them again at that range. Do you understand what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you feel like, hey, I'm zapping people because sometimes I can zap them at this range, you can't actually sometimes zap them at that range. What is happening is it's a lingering sort of leash where the tether actually has to break type thing. So if you understand that, I hope that you'll be able to get your ammo usage a bit more under control as you get a more consistent understanding of, oh, this is actually what its range is, and you'll be doing less zapping of the air, less of zapping before you're actually in range and you're jumping on people, things like that, because that'll keep you in fights longer, that'll increase your damage more, that'll give you a lot more ability to really threaten eliminations on those squishies that you're trying to get onto. So that's actually the first thing that I'd work on. I'd really work on getting a good understanding of what your Tesla range is there, and stop spending your ammo like on the air just zapping stuff. Like, that's going to matter. That's really the first thing I'd work on. The primal thing isn't going to take brain power, because it's not that it doesn't take brain power, it's just it doesn't take learning brain power, because you're going to specifically go practice it as a drill. So you can be like, I didn't even put it in my category of things I'm learning. I go practice it as a drill. It's not something I need to be thinking about that hard while I'm actually doing my comp games, because either I've got my mechanics down for it or I don't. And then the second thing, because there's too many things actually here that I'd give you to work on, would probably be understanding that you are playing with their backline and you don't want to be playing with their tanks. It is that simple most of the time. You're going, hey, I'm trying to find ways to engage on their backline so that I can go do this. I'm going to let their tanks through, and I'm going to play with their backline. If I'm doing high ground to do that, great. If I'm using leaps on their backline to do that, great. If I'm sneaking around tunnels on flanks to go do that, great. But I want to be playing with their backline. I don't want to be playing with Roadhogs, with divas, with Reinhardts, anything like that. So that's sort of the area that I'm going to give you. Do you have questions about really any of those 3? But I'll let you go anywhere topic-wise with these, because we did talk about a lot here.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot to work on, so.
Sure, I just don't want you to try
Yeah.
and do it all at once, because
No,
I know.
I think I've gotten everything written down, and I think the biggest thing I'll work on is just even trying to go for squishies. I think, like,
Right.
I could probably work on the other things as a result of not focusing tanks.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you agree with that assessment?
I do actually. I think if you then that's why I want to fix your ammo so that you're actually dangerous to
Right.
those squishies. It's like if we can fix your ammo and we can sick you on squishies, I think you'll find yourself out of the positions that are causing tanks to fight you, causing you to fight tanks. Yeah, you got it.
Do you also have any recommendations for like you mentioned the S jump and then the 180 butt jump? Do you just how would you recommend practicing those? Just going into like a no cooldown type custom game
You'll
and
get
just
lots
working
of
on it?
practice with the S jump just with your primal practice because you use it a
Okay.
lot if you're knocking targets around yourself. And then, oh, geez, I forgot that I have to teach Winston's that. And then with the other Winston stuff, you can go around maps and figure out like what can you jump onto from where. Like you'll just start going, oh, I have
Okay.
to do a W jump for this. This is a regular jump, etc. You'll learn your jumps pretty quick, and you'll learn the stuff that you can jump onto and where you jump from. But you can like you could open up Route 66, for example, as just Winston and go, can I get across the entire map or can I get to each team fight location? Like in every single team fight location on Route 66, let's do it. So we're here. Let's do play. Let's go into game browser, create, and settings, maps. Let's go to Route 66. And let's go like this real quick.
Traveling to Route 66.
Oh, I do not have the right mouse plugged in for this. My controls are going to suck. Okay, that's okay. So
Imagination is the
let's...
essence of discovery.
I really do not have the right setup for this. I'm not even bound correctly. Okay, that's fine. So we would go through here, and what we would do is we would see, let's just look at this from an attacker's perspective and think about, okay, if we are attacking first point here, we're attacking first point here, there really isn't too much that we're worried about in terms of a fight happening in this space, but if a fight did happen in this space, we jump over here and we're able to zap it from above, right? Nothing too complicated there. But the next place that a fight happens is right here, right? And what can we do as Winston to pressure this spot? How can we pressure this spot as Winston?
Bridge, like that area, and then
We could come
behind
up
the rock on that
here
other angle.
and zap from here. That's an option, sure.
Guess gas station maybe?
Gas station could work, but they're almost always going to be holding gas station. So, like, yes, we could jump gas station, and that would let us pressure this spot. But, yeah, that'll happen. We might do a soft jump. The problem with jumping gas station, if they're holding here, is that puts us in a situation where then when we try to back out, oh, shoot, we're getting crushed by your front line type thing. So we don't love that.
Gotcha.
But what is a very doable jump is, oh, wait, I can zap from here type thing. I can zap from here. I can do this and zap from here type thing. So that's an option that we have. And then the last options that we have are just, well, I don't have to jump to get in. I can just, you'll lose track of me and I can just crouch walk my way, do this, and I'll just pressure you from here. And if you put too much pressure on me, I leap out. That sort of thing. So like you can just think about the map like that and then go on to the next spot that a team fight happens. Well, the next spot that a team fight happens is around there, and what do you know? I can use this one as well to do the same thing. Or I can do it from on top of gas station, and okay, now I've got high ground. So you just sort of go, and as you get used to jumping onto things like those signs and figuring out how am I going to pressure each spot where fights tend to happen as Winston, you can't help but get the practice on how to use your jumps and knowing where you can hit those jumps from. You sort of see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. And we could do the same thing on third. We could do this all the way through the map, but I'm just words are hard.
I understand the concept, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Then I think that's going to do it. Do you have any final questions?
No.
Cool. Cool.